everybody. Welcome to this week's basketball edition of The Huddle. I'm reporter Ruth Lang here with sports editor Mike Brown. Mike, this week we had some mixed results with boys basketball this week. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Alliance Aviators kind of had a rough game with Kent Central Catholic, but they got the job done and they got the win on Tuesday night, Ruth. And then the Marlington boys went over to Massillon, played the Tuslaw Mustangs, and lost a really tough one-point game. That's a tough loss for Marlington. That's two losses in a row, and Marlington's got a good basketball team, so that was a tough one for them. I got a chance to cover the Sebring game on Tuesday night, and Sebring played the best team in the Inter-Tri-County League Tuesday night, the McDonald Blue Devils, who are 6-0 on the season, 4-0 in their league, and they average 83 points a game. So they are up and down the floor all game long, and Sebring had Sebring's a young team, and we knew that was going to be a tough game going into that game, and it was. It turned out 83-44. McDonald won that game. And the other game, Tuesday night, West Branch went to Canton South. Canton South has been one of the surprises so far in the Northeastern Buckeye Conference. They've been done really well, and West Branch went over there and lost by double digits to the South Wildcats. So it kind of a tough last few games for our area teams.
Mm-hmm. And looking ahead to this week's games, there's a big game in the area between Alliance and West Branch on Friday night. What do you think that's going to be like?
Well, when those two get together, it's always exciting. Usually it's during the holidays, too. West Branch and Alliance traditionally usually play during the holidays, so there's usually a big crowd. And the round number one is going to be this Friday night. It's going to be at West Branch, Ruth. And West Branch is off to a rough start. They've only got one win. Alliance is off to a good start, coming off that 23-1 team they had last year. And they've been playing pretty well. Alliance doesn't have a real big team this year, and they're missing a key player who's out right now. So, I would think on paper Alliance would be a heavy favorite in that game, but you never know. When you have two area teams playing, you just never know how that's going to go. And it's always exciting for the fans. I think when an Alliance and West Branch or an Alliance and Marlington get together, it's always a big crowd draw.
Sure. Now, what about some of the other area matchups set for this weekend?
Yeah, Marlington will be home again Friday night. They've got the Carrollton Warriors coming in, and that's a chance for the Dukes to get back on the winning track. I think Marlington's a good basketball team. They've got the returning MVP in the league in Lucas Struble, and I think they've just had two tough losses. They played two really good teams the last 2 weeks in Salem and then playing at Tuslaw. A couple tough losses for them. This is a chance for the Dukes to bounce back, and I think they will Friday night against Carroll.
What about fouling? They need to get this fouling under control,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, they do. We've seen a few games lately that have been a little rough with the foul, so probably maybe a little bit more discipline would help in that aspect. Yeah.
There's also, there's a holiday weekend tournament.
Yes. Yeah.
Who's going to be involved with that? Where's that going to be hosted?
This is going to be a first. This was a tournament that was hosted before in Canton. And it's made its way. Alliance is the actual host school, even though the games aren't at Alliance High School. They're going to be at Mount Union College on Saturday. There's 4 games. It's a holiday classic. And luckily, 2 of our area teams are playing in the game. Marlington is playing. They have a 6:15 game on Saturday at Mount Union. They'll be playing Newark Catholic, who, to my knowledge, they've never played before. And then in the last game of the evening, that'll be, I believe, at 8:15. The Alliance Aviators are going to be playing in that game, and they're going to be playing the Jackson Polar Bears, the Federal League. So a couple really nice matchups in that, and that's a chance for fans in our area. Usually we don't have a whole lot of boys Saturday games. For whatever reason, used to years ago. We don't in recent years, but that's a chance for fans over the holidays, during the break. You get a chance to see some really good high school basketball, and like I said, there'll be 4 games on Saturday. I think the first game starts at 3 o'clock, but our area teams play in the 6:15 or the 6:30 and the 8:15 games on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Turning now to girls basketball, West Branch and Marlington played last Saturday. West Branch pulled out the win with some strong defense. What were some other thoughts that you had on that game, Mike?
Yeah, I got a chance to see that game. Ruth took that in, and Marlington's really young. They have their 6th person back from last year, who's now a starter. But the rest of that team is made up of a lot of really young players. And I thought Marlington scrapped well and played hard in that game. West Branch is just a more veteran team. They have a lot of starters coming back from last year, and they have probably the best point guard in the area, Melinda Trimmer, who's a tremendous player, just a tremendous player. And she led West Branch. West Branch won that by, I believe, over 20 points. And they look like to be the real deal again this year. They were a team that got the district title game last year, and I think they're probably going to be one of our best girls teams this year, if not the best girls team in the area, along with Louisville.
What about other area teams? What's the competition like say,
Well,
if you're putting them against West Branch?
Yeah,
What's
well,
the competition for the area?
I think the two best girls teams in the area this year are probably Louisville, who beat West Branch 2 weeks ago in a great game, and they'll play again later on in the season at West Branch. That'll be a great rematch in that game. I think the Louisville and West Branch girls. I mean, Louisville's defending champ. They have that tradition, and they've done a great job. I think a lot of people were kind of counting them out for the title this year, and that was a big mistake because here they are. We're about a month into the girls' season, and the Louisville Leopards are leading the NBC standings. So, they're going to be a tough out for anybody. And I think West Branch is good. Minerva's made some strides with their girls program. They've got great tradition at Minerva too. And the Carrollton girls, there's another really good girls team. That's a team comprised of girls that are mostly sophomores, but it's a really good sophomore class that played last year as freshmen, and they are tremendous. So I think they're going to be a factor in that NBC race too.
And can you tell us what's going to be the lineup of basketball games coming up from here, looking into the holidays?
Yeah, this Saturday we've got a few crossover games coming up this weekend. We're going to have the rivalry game between the West Branch and Salem girls, and that's always tremendous. I mean, that'll be a large crowd over at Salem, and it always is when those two get together. Salem's a little bit younger this year. They have great tradition, though. I mean, that's a Salem program that's gotten to state before. I mean, that's how good it is. And those two will play on Saturday, and then we have the immediate area matchup Saturday. We have Alliance and Marlington playing. So the Alliance girls under Lee Hood, he's doing a great job in his first year. He's trying to instill some format and trying to establish a base with that program. And I know it's a tough spot to walk into because he didn't have they lost a lot of girls from last year, and I think he's trying to develop a feeder program with Alliance, and that's the key to it. Starting those younger level girls where they're learning the fundamentals, so when they get to the high school level, he can coach strategy and things like that. So, and I think he's doing a good job. They had a tough loss to Minerva, but I look at it as I really think a coach needs 3 to 5 years to instill his program, and I hope they do that with him because I think he's a good coach and he'll do a good job for them. I think they just need to be patient and stay the course there, though.
Okay, that concludes this week's edition of the Huddle for basketball, and we'll see everybody next week. Make sure to keep up with our game coverage in the Alliance Review and online at www.the-review.com.